Hello everyone, nice to see you again. I'm Chris. In this video, I show you some concept that of some using feeling of that after I using ctrlX. Actually, this is a slide that of the factory automation study a event in Japan. So I just translate it to English version and then present it again. Let's start. Before I start the presentation, I would like to introduce myself again. I'm Chris. I come from Hong Kong. Now I'm working some stuff with factory automations. Then in the left hand corner, that you can find my blog, YouTube channel, and Twitter. And please follow me there if you are interested in for my activities. So, if you think about it for a minute, now this is a very traditional, classic PLC production line. You have a PLC or IPC that you're connecting so many IOs, servo motors or robots. Then, once a day, you think, I would like to add some new features or functionalities. After you go to the internet, go to the search, and then teach from Google's, you get it from Google's, and you may have this result. I cannot use the PLC that I'm using now because it's too old. It is too model, but firmware version something that is not make sense. So at that time, you may think, if my PLC or my control system is like a smartphone or iPhone or Android phone that we can install the applications in any time when we want, it should be great. Let's think a little bit more deeply. When you install a application, for example, like Line, this is just a message application in Japan. You can send text, right? You can send pictures and videos. You can play a video call. Then you can also pay the bill, and you can delete it when you don't use it. So maybe you think again. Can we use the same app-based concept for the PLC that we are using? The result is yes. This is the solution that I would like to introduce you in this time is ctrlX Core. So here is the index that for my presentations. So let's about what is the ecosystem. So ctrlX is an ecosystem that I have a chance to ask PLC Next technology that what is ecosystem, that there's some very detailed descriptions and answers that I would like to highlight 3 points. It should be openness, modularities, and community drive development. So, and what is ctrlX? ctrlX is a Bosch Lexus solutions. It's a Linux real-time operation systems. It's app-based. It's web-based engineer. Large without separate software installations. Almost all conversion is done with the web browsers. And the main concept of the ctrlX is flexibility and updatable and scalable. So here are the structures that I just captured from Google. And in the bottom layer, there's a core runtime that with a ctrlX OS, it's a Linux roots. Then you have a data layer to exchange the data to between all the apps. Then for the apps layer, then you can use, if you want to use PLC, then you use PLC apps. Then if you want to use motion, you have motion apps and all the stuff that you want to use. For the engineering, for the PLC, maybe you need a tools from ctrlX called ctrlX PLC engineering. But for example, you want to configure the EtherCAT I/O, the HMI drives, or you program C++ Python. Then you can configure all these things in web server or Visual Code that you VS Code. Then in the up layer, this service. So ctrlX will give take the feedback for the customer, then update their solutions, and then to fix the feedback, and to update new versions. And for the management, then you can link all your ctrlX system, and also, for example, not just like that, you can link your ctrlX system to the MES, to any production system. So the hardware I used in here, the first one is AX3 ctrlX Eclipse from X3 is I brought it from Taiwan, so it's a 64 ARM PC CPU. It has a 4 GB eMMC and 2 GB RAM and 1 MB of within C memory. The operating system is Linux roots. Then they have a USB-C type in here. Then with 3 ports. The first port is for engineering. The second port is for EtherCAT, and the last port is a engineering or HMI port that with TSN endpoint. The other ones I would like to use in here is the virtual core, because I don't have enough license to install all the apps in one ctrlX. So virtual core, you can use it when you don't have the hardware. You can try apps you don't have a license for and can operate for around 3 or 4 hours. But you need the PC to be powerful. So for the App Store concept, so here is a screenshot that I screenshot from the App Store of ctrlX. So you can download all the apps that you want. You can see here, just not the apps come from ctrlX. Then you have some apps come from Fennec, from Sake, from Roster, from Logred. So you can download all the apps to your computers. Yeah, even you run some apps you need to pay. Then you can just install to your ctrlX X3. Then it works. It's just like your smartphone. So here's some procedures. You can just open your browser, then access your web server or your ctrlX, and then press install from files, choose the apps you install, and then press install button. You wait 1 minute, done. Okay, then I'll explain a concept very important in ctrlX. It's called data layer. Data layer is the interface that access to exchange the data between ctrlX OS applications. Simple and easy data exchange, and not only between local, it means inside the ctrlX, but other ctrlX, but also to other device. The real-time and non-real-time data also share data on the same data layer, and it is dynamic. It means that because, for example, if I create one axis in my ctrlX, then ctrlX will automatically generate the data layer of all the data that inside the axis. And hardware conversions can be built and changed entirely on the data layer also. So here's a very simple structures. If, for example, I have a ctrlX in here, then inside my ctrlX, I have a PLC app. I have some data I would like to provide to other apps. So in this time, I call my apps is data providers. So all the data will be published with the data layer, and then in the local environment, I can get all the data with the data layer. But for example, if I have another ctrlX, is that a problem? No. Just to make sure that you're connecting the same network or using root or something, then you can get the data also for with the data layer from your apps. But how about the data not ctrlX, for example, other data from other device, or HPC or Raspberry Pi or something? Don't worry, you can also use C++, Logred, Python, Go, etc. etc. ctrlX also provide the data, some library and package for you to easily access the data inside ctrlX. And actually, the data layer is using REST API and Office UA that you can easy to access all the data in these two interfaces. So here is a more detailed instructions of the data layer. So for example, your PLC app, you have motion app, you have EtherCAT app. Each apps you have their own data. All these data will be published to the data layer. Then you can use your apps can access all this data with this data layer. And then I would like to explain a very interesting concept of ctrlX called SDK, Software Development Kit. This is a software package that you can download from GitHub. It's free. It's not like some makers you need to pay for get the SDK. In this SDK, you have C++, Go, Python, Node, Shell, etc. etc. Then all this data is public on GitHub. Everyone available to everyone. Then you can 100% to integrate to ctrlX, and it gives you a very great approach that you can do what you want to do in the easier ways. And if the manufacturers don't provide these features, then you can make by yourself. So it's why SDK is very powerful here. But you need some programming background, but you give you more freedom. So here's the configuration wheel in this time. And it's a demo. I just try to simulate a production line in a viewer. But how to say? I didn't connect all the IOs or IO links because it's be very hard job for me, so I'm just connecting in here. And you see, then you have so many data in your line. For example, you have some data is controlled by your ctrlX using EtherCAT or motion. In here, you have some lines is controlled by itself but only support Modbus. And here is some data, so it's the run PLC station, and you're connecting to other device by using Ethernet IP, but inside Ethernet IP also have some their own device, own the station. Then here is the Phoenix contact, all the data is grouped by point net and point safe. And here is also a station, all the data is grouped by backoffs, IBC, and from EtherCAT and FSOE. And inside the EtherCAT, there's some point net, point bus, or CAN bus, CAN open stations. So, and in the right hand side, you have two stations. Is for the cloud, for the local, for the local control. For the first one is using the XR, the HPC to connect all the data again, US OBCUA, and then display all the details in the web panel. And then also upload all the data to the cloud by using a HPC from Phoenix contact is PC1522. I'll explain one to one. For example, the first one, I would like to explain the EtherCAT app. So as I mentioned before, the ctrlX X3 provide a port for you to configure as an EtherCAT master and then to communicate to the EtherCAT slave. So here is the screen that inside the ctrlX inside the EtherCAT app. Then you need a ctrlX IO engineering. Then you can view all the status in the web browser, but you need a software. It's a free software. Then you can configure all your IO EtherCAT slave IOs and the configurations, and then you can download it to your ctrlX. Then you can run your EtherCAT applications that without PLC, without anyone, because all these apps are separate. And as I mentioned before, that all data can be accessed with the data layer. So here then is the other thing is called motion and PLC apps. Then because this time didn't connect to a real access that is to ctrlX X3, I just use a partial apps in here. And for the motions, all the access is configured with the web browser. You don't need a external software, don't need to pay anymore. Maybe you just need to pay the license of the motion app. Then you can do the control panel, and then you can commissioning. But you can also use the data layer to get which data that you get available to get, and then you can send the command also, and then you can get the actual data. And this time I use PLC apps to control my access, but you can use any apps that you want. So here is the Modbus and OBCUA layer. So it's a data that for you to connect all the data inside from your line. In this case, you have OBCUA or Modbus. And okay, let's go back to this screen. It's been more. So ctrlX will collect all the data with the OBCUA client apps. For example, you have Amlon, right? You have Phoenix contact, Siemens, backoff, keys. All data will collect back to the ctrlX X3, and then you convert again to its own OBCUA server nodes. So here same. So here's a PLC MPC that don't support OBCUA, so I will use multiple CCP apps to get the data in the partial core, and then use data layer communications to access the data, access the Modbus data. And finally, I have a XR HPC in here, device in here to get all the data with the OBCUA server inside X3. So I don't need to access all this server again. I just want to access X3, then I'll get all data for this sub OBCUA server. And then finally, all the data will be displayed in the web panel. Don't worry, I'll also explain it a little bit later. So here's the Modbus TCP apps. Then you can see there's no any special things. You can just configure the Modbus setting and in web server in the web base, and also it is data, all the data that you can get it from data layer. Also, your client is same. You can configure all the connection setting. Then you can get all the data from the with the OBCUA protocols. And here is for data layer. A little bit I would like to mention here that In the OpenCUA data layer, that you can see I can all the station here. So it means I can get all the data, OpenCUA server data with the data layer. But here is the OpenCUA server apps. So one time when our server apps is running, then the right hand side is the UA expert software. Then I think you use it so many times for the commissioning. For the commissioning, then you can see I can access. I have a data layer address space, something folder. Inside, I can access all the OpenCUA server that my OpenCUA client apps access. It means that, as I mentioned before, you don't need to you don't need to access each OpenCUA server anymore. What you want to do, you can only access ctrlX, and ctrlX will manage all the stuff that you need. So for the IoT relate, I use Node-RED, Telegraph, InfluxDB, and IoT dashboard. For the InfluxDB, no special. It's just what you use for the InfluxDB before. For Telegraph app, is also no special things, but there's with great features that I think is that ctrlX provide for you. That and it's an editor, and they have a dynamic logs. You can know what kind of error that you're happening in the Telegraph apps. And then for IoT dashboard apps, actually it's 100% same to the Grafana, so I will not explain it in here. And Node-RED apps also same, but if it be more pre-installed Node, for example, you can see here is the data layer Node something. And then I also use data layer to exchange the data between two ctrlX, as I mentioned before, and also for the HPC. Here is a screen that inside my ctrlX. Then you can see that here is two nodes in here. Use data layer to write the data to the back of the EL6910, the same terminal for the error acknowledge and the run stop signal. And then I mentioned before I use Extra and to create my screen, right? So it means that I use Extra to collect all the data from the controller XP again, and then I use a web panel. This time I use Phoenix Context web panel to display all data again. It should be configured should be like this. So in my Extra panel, in an Extra device, I create all the screen for each line. Then I will use a web panel to access all this web page one by one. That means I no need to download this software, the touch panel software, on local or on the site anymore. All the screen data is stored in the Extra device. Finally, for the cloud connections, this time I use the Docker that inside my Phoenix Contact PC. And then the Docker inside Node-RED. Then I use Node-RED to connect to public cloud, also a service provided from public cloud. Public cloud is also a service provided by Phoenix Contact. So here is the Node-RED flow inside Phoenix Contact, EPC 1522. Then you will see I use the data layer nodes is provided from ctrlX. You can free download it by using Node-RED, and then all the data will display on public cloud web dashboard. Okay, let me show you the live demo now. Right? Okay, so first thing I would like to show you here is the public cloud platform. Now I will refresh it. This should now is online, so the data now is okay. I will go to service. I will go to open service to open my time series DB. You spend some times. Then right. Then it should show some data. So okay, maybe because it don't public anymore. Okay. And then here is the PLC apps inside ctrlX. Then you see it's running to controlling the access, the partial access, and then the library is using is MC reset and power is the PLC open library, so you no need to learn the own functions inside ctrlX anymore. And here is the EtherCAT IO engineering. Then you can see all the information that for the each node, for example, the IP address, if you use UE service, and all the data and slave to slave. You compare each the offline conversions to the online conversions, etc., etc. Then you can also configure all the data that you want. And then I'll show you this one. Yeah, this one is the context core. That is the data that the web server inside the ctrlX view hardware. So in the home page, you go to home, then you can see that all the app is running. Then for the dynamics, you can see what happened then inside your ctrlX. For the EtherCAT master, you can see the status of EtherCAT slave, and the motions, you can see how the motor is running here. Then when you plus the commissioning, then you can see now the data is changing. For the OBC UA, then you can go to overview to see how many client connections you're running and how many sections of connection is connecting to your OBC UA servers. And for the PLC, that you can see the PLC service now is running, or not, or it's app based. And go to settings, go to layers, and you can see all the data layers in here. For example, PLC, that you can see inside applications. I didn't configure any memory in here, but you can configure the memory to let other apps to access your PLC's data. And also for the motions, then you can access, go to access, come on, access, X1, and then go to config, I think it's config, then you can see all configurations, then go to status, you can get the status of your access. For the field bus, all the same, but I don't explain here. For EtherCAT, you can get the data that inside from the EtherCAT master, EtherCAT slave. Then, okay, then here I'll show you. Here is the Spatial Core. This is running inside my PC. Then you see here's a telegraph is running, and OBC is also running, and Node-RED, and Modbus TCP and InfluxDB. So here is the InfluxDB dashboard in here, because I just showing some dummy data, and for example here is the safety PLC's temperature and runtime and temperature or something, and so no any special thing here. Then is also a dashboard that inside the my safety PLC in my safety terminal EL6910. Then here is a Node-RED flow in here. I just create a dashboard in here for me to connect the data, to reset the terminal, to get the data from Modbus, something. Not so many big deals, yeah. And okay, so here is the panel, is the Excel home page. Then here I can click the each line to see what's happening. So now I'm using the web server, the web browser that in my PC. So what can I do is I can use here is my web panel for the FedEx contact. For example, I go to my page one. It is the keys modules that I get the data alignment modules I directly access here. Then if I don't want this page, then I can go to the Node-RED dashboard. I directly see the operator dashboard also. And then, for example, when I would like to go to reset other page by using, just a second. For example, this one is Excel, ADMIN. I just want to log in it. I can see all the data same again. So what is the main concept here is I can just install the web panel that what the page that I would like to want, and then I just connecting the same network, access to this IP address, then I can get all the screen that I need. I don't need to download the HDMI project to my local HDMI anymore. That's a very great concept. Okay, so here is my live demo, and finally I'll show you the camera. So here are the stations that I'm using. Yes, I'm sorry for my spaghetti cabling. And here you see there's a web panel, and here's my station of on side. It's an IP and chip safety, and here's HPC, and here's the station side of back of EtherCAT, and here is the station side of PostSafe and PostNet, and here is my ctrlX, and here is my small vessel servo drive. I very like this drive, and now you see it's flashing because my battery that inside ctrlX have some problems. It seems like, so it's just why showing warning. Actually, it should be green. This should be low. This flashing, but don't worry. There's some Siemens PLC and right mirror IBC, IO something. Okay, so let's go back to our slide. Okay, so here is our slide. Let me find my slide first. Here is my slide. Okay, so, and don't worry that not ctrlX also have the community for you to ask the questions, to share the to share what you know. Then you have your questions. You also ask on this platform. But PLC Next also have same community, and Codis and even Siemens and Backoff also have same community. And for the app base, it's not just ctrlX, okay? For the PLC Next, they all have a app store for you to install the apps in your PLC Next controller. And for example, Backoff, they also depends on what you want. They can install the functions inside your IBC. Some good news that in last year, a while ago, is we have a collaboration with ctrlX. That it means that the new Wago controller maybe will included the ctrlX OS. There's the photos that I took from 1 month or 2 months, 1 month before. That it is a ctrlX hardware that with Wago logos. So now you can go to the Wago download centers, then you can download the ctrlX stuff. So how can you start it? As I mentioned before, you can go to Wago to download the Wago download center to download the ctrlX, or you can directly go to Bosch Exlos webpage to register as a user, and then download the ctrlX works and the apps that you want. So finally, it is my thinking, my conclusions of Future's factory. For example, here's so many lines. Then all the lines will be connecting to the network switch, and then all the switch will be connecting to this network. And the real-time data will use Ethernet IP or EtherCAT. Then the main factory with a local server then allow you to create the virtual environment. Then inside, in my case, it should be ctrlX OS or TCP/SD. It's a common Backoff. Then you run as a separate container or separate virtual PLC that inside. And also your HMI apps, customer apps, or machine builder apps, or engineering server. So and all this line will directly connect it to this local server. And then finally, we don't need any software anymore. We will use browser, and then use some common interface. For example, for Backoff, use ADS. For the ctrlX, use data layer, and then use or more commonly like OBCUA. To do what? Then we can configure all the hardware. For example, for the install applications, for the configure network setting, automated backup and restore, and scheduler update and programming. So it means all this. Let's reach. You can configure the VLAN, port forwarding, firewall, VPN with here. And then there's a very big topic, digital twin commissioning. So then what data use the same engineering stations to connect to your local server. In your local server, it depends on your next generation of line, that what kind of you have. Then you can build the images inside. What kind of apps, what kind of virtual PLC that you should have. Then you can just build in a container or some virtual element, and then you can use a common interface to make the debugging, and then for debugging or something. By using this, you can debug and the code generations and unit testing, all the stuff then do by here. And then for the digital twin communication for the 3D model. Maybe you can import from Siemens NX or from ePlan for the electrical part or something. That's the future. I don't know. And then you can also connect the other service to cloud with SAP or something. Okay, finally, I think my presentation in here is enough. I would like to thank all these companies that provide the device to me to prepare this demo. And I really like all your stuff. And I hope I can see you next time. Don't forget to access this QR code to see the ctrlX guideline. And I hope I can see you next time. So, have a good day. Bye bye.